in the QBO gym, and this is where we have numerous hands-on exercises that simulate real-life scenarios that you may encounter as a bookkeeper. Each month covers a variety of new topics and scenarios, and to make it a little bit easier for you, we break it down into 4 different sections. So if you are looking to work on your bookkeeping skills, this is the place for you. And if you want to do an entire month's worth of these all on your own, be sure to join our free 5-day bookkeeping challenge. All you need to do is click on the link in the description. But let's get into today's exercise, which is being pulled from our August Year 1 warm-ups section. At the top here is an animated video to give you a synopsis of what is going on in Craig's world this month. He is our fictitious business owner. Further down is an interactive pre-assessment quiz that relates to the video up above. Below that are all of the exercises in this section. And at the bottom here is an optional area where after you have completed all of the exercises in this section, you will unlock some sample marketing posts that you can use on your LinkedIn to share with everyone what you have learned so far. So let's dive into today's exercise where we are going to practice processing the bank feed transactions. Go ahead and click on that link to have the exercise pulled up for you. I have it over here on the right side of my screen, so let's read through our scenario. After you have input all the sales and expense transactions, it's time to process bank feeds. This means comparing what went into and out of the bank and making sure there is a correct record of it in QBO. Now, you will need to be in the same session of the sample company that you did the previous exercises in this section in. If you have not completed those exercises yet, go ahead and click on the link on the top right corner of your screen. That'll take you to the first exercise. Complete that one and all the ones after it until you get back to this one. They all build on each other, so it's really important to start with that first one. I have the sample company pulled up here on the left side of my screen. This is the last page that I left off of from the previous exercise and where we're going to start for today. So let's get ready to do this exercise. First, we're going to start by processing the new transactions in the checking account. Note that as you go through the exercise, the dates on the bank feed in QBO may be different than the screenshots in this exercise or what you see here on my screen, as the dates in the sample company are always changing. So just keep that in mind as we're looking through. If you see dates on my screen that are different than what you have, that's perfectly fine and perfectly normal because the sample company is always changing them. So let's get into the banking center. From the left navigation bar, we're going to hover over transactions and then select bank transactions. So here is that left navigation bar and here is transactions. Hover over that and then select bank transactions. Alternatively, they have here in the sample company that bank transactions is a bookmark. So you could have always clicked on that and then come back to this area. Now, you may need to close some pop-ups here if this is your first time in the banking center. This is a little overview that QBO provides if you have any questions and want to know more about this area. We're just going to go ahead and click out of it by clicking on the X. Now, the first thing that we want to do is take a look at which bank transaction QBO thinks it has a matching transaction for. So to do that, let's create a filter in the All Transactions dropdown, selecting Suggested Matches. So that is right here. Click on that and then select Suggested Matches. And you will see it here as we are looking at this that QBO thinks there is a match for this one. It thinks there's 2 matches found for this one. So that's how you know that QBO is trying to figure out which one goes with which. Now, it makes sense to look at each of the match transactions to ensure they look correct. Notice that the bank feed matches the journal entry that we made for Books by Bessie in the earlier exercise. Since you're seeing this in the bank feed already, Craig must have deposited the refund check without telling you. You check with him about this and he confirms that he used mobile deposit for his phone. So this journal entry right here is the one that we created in a previous exercise, in which the one that we are talking about, and so it is showing as 1 match found. So next we'll want to deal with the transactions that have more than one match. There are 3 on this list: Pam Sites, another one for Books by Bessie, and then Squeaky Clean Car Wash. And you can see that here it says that 2 matches found, 2 matches found, 2 matches found. So we're going to look at these and see how we can kind of make those fix it and make those matches. So we're going to start with Pam Sites. In the action column of her row, we're going to click on View. So this row right here, you can either click anywhere on this line or you can click on View. Either way will be perfectly fine. It'll just expand it so that you can see more of the information here. Now know that when attempting to make a match, QBO is only searching by amount. They're not looking at the person that it's for. It's not looking at the date. It is simply looking at the amount, which you can see here. There are 2 options that are showing for $75 each, which is why QBO is not sure which one is the correct match. But when you look at the options, you will see that the bank description matches the expense recorded for Pam Sites. So here is that bank detail saying her name. Here is the transaction that is with her name. So we know that this is the correct one. It should already be selected. So all we're going to do is click on the green match button. And when it has matched, you will notice now that the transaction for Books by Bessie is also being matched because QBO is recognizing that there is only one match for them because we just matched the Pam Sites transaction. So that one is taken care of. Both of those are taken care of. So now we just need to take a look at this Squeaky Clean Car Wash transaction the same way we just handled the one for Pam Sites. So on that Squeaky Clean Car Wash row, we want to, in the action column, click on View. Once again, that is right here. You could also click into anywhere on here just to expand it. That would have been fine as well. Now notice here that there are 2 transactions, but the different types and transaction dates. One of them matches the date of the bank feed. So if we take a quick look here, this is one for 1999 and this one's also for 1999, same exact vendor, same exact amount, just different dates. So when you are doing this in real life, if you see 2 transactions that are exactly like this, not only are you looking for the date to match the one that is here on the feed, you also may want to double check that the other one is not a duplicate or an error. For the purposes of this exercise, we're not going to worry about that. We're just going to match the one here that is the correct date. So look at the date that is on your bank feed and make sure that it is matching the one that is selected, and then go ahead and click on the green match button. All right, so now that we have done that, we should only have single matches left on the list. So we can accept these in batch. Rather than clicking on each one individually, we are going to scroll to the top here and click on the checkbox to select all of the transactions. And if you want to do a quick scroll, you can see the green box that says 1 match found for each transaction just to verify it. So now that we have verified, let's click on the accept button here on this black bar that just appeared. And it has now accepted, and we can't find any more transactions to match your search because we currently have that filter looking for suggested matches. So when all of the match transactions are accepted, you are notified that there are no more in this match of our search, as I just mentioned. So we need to remove the suggested match filter to see all of the unmatched transactions that are left, which we can see here is a total of 4 based on what this orange number is saying right here. So let's click on the X next to suggested matches. And now we will see those 4 listed here to review. So as I mentioned, at this point, you see only those 4. Let's start looking at the first A rental transaction. So just click on that row to expand it. Don't click add, just click anywhere on there to expand it so that we can see this information. Notice that a window appears with the details of the bank feed. The bank detail shows the name of the vendor, but there isn't a matching vendor in our system. After double checking with Craig, you find out that Ellis Equipment Rentals, the usual vendor, didn't have the backhoe available for the dates that Craig needed one, so he went to this other vendor, A Rental. So we just need to add them as a vendor, which is easy enough to do right here in the bank feed. In the vendor customer field, let's go ahead and select plus add new. So click the down arrow, select plus add new, and you'll get this pop out here. QBO is automatically assuming that this is a customer, but actually a rental is a vendor. So let's go ahead and in the contact type field, select vendor, click the down arrow, select vendor, and then we want to fill in the vendor display name field with their name, which is A Rental. So click into that and type A Rental so that it shows up for us. And we're not going to fill out any other information in this vendor card for the purposes of this exercise. But of course, in real life, if you have any other contact information or anything else that could be pertained to this information here that you could add, highly recommend doing it at this time. So let's go ahead and just click on the green Save button so that we have that new vendor created here. Next, we need to decide what category to use for the return of Craig's deposit for the backhoe. If the deposit was held for some time, the correct way to record this would be to create an asset account for the funds. They still belong to Craig after all, even though they are being held by another company. This would be really important to reflect on the balance sheet. In this case, however, the deposit is only held for a few days at most, while the backhoe is being used at the job that Craig had rented it for. So you can just use the same category as the original expense, which is equipment rental. So in the account field, let's go ahead and select equipment rental. Click into that down arrow. You can either scroll, I believe it's towards the top here. Nope, not that one. This one right here, there's another one that's a sub account of job expenses. We want the one that's actually the parent account all on its own. So it's towards the very top here. Once you find equipment rental, go ahead and click on it. And then we're going to click on the green add button. And now that one has been matched, and we only have these 3 transactions left. Now you'll notice here that there are 2 more for a rental to manage. The next one here is for the actual rental of the backhoe. Now the category should now be properly reflected as equipment rental for both of the remaining transactions, but we're going to click into the next one to make sure that it has the correct information. So let's click on the one that's on the top, the one for $1,200, click into that. And then in the vendor customer field, it should already say a rental, but in case not, you would want to click on the down arrow to find it. This one is all good. So now let's go ahead and click on the green add button. That's down there on the bottom right. And now that one has been categorized and we only have this remaining one here. Now the payee should properly reflect a rental and the category should now properly reflect equipment rental, which it is doing. So we are good here. We can click on the add button. And now we just have that final one here to look at for Hicks Hardware. Now, when you select the same expense category for the same vendor for a second time, QBO will ask you if you always want to categorize the same vendor in the same way. In the real world, if you know that you will always be using that same category, you can select yes. For now, we would just say no because we aren't sure. So if you don't get this particular pop-up, like I didn't get that pop-up, we can move on to the next transaction here. But just know that in real life, as you're doing books, you may actually get that pop-up, and that is what that pop-up means. Now, there's only that one transaction that's remaining to deal with, and that one is for Hicks Hardware. It's not matching any existing transactions, so we should double check to see if any of the expense transactions look like a match. So to do that, we're going to, from the left navigation bar, hover over expenses and then select expenses. So here on that left side is that left navigation bar. Hover over expenses, click on expenses. And when you do, you will see a list of expense transactions appearing here for us. It is helpful to sort them alphabetically so that you can see all of the Hicks hardware transactions grouped together. Now, if you get any pop-ups like this, just go ahead and click on the X to exit out of it. And as you can see, there's all these payees. We could scroll through trying to find which Hicks hardware one it would be, but let's just click on the arrow next to payee so that it sorts alphabetically for us and makes it a lot easier for us to find. Let's scroll down until we find Hicks hardware. And here, there's a lot of transactions here for Hicks hardware. Now, there's a transaction that looks very similar to the one that was on the bank feed. When there is a discrepancy, the bank is always right. So the last bookkeeper must have just made a typo when entering the expense. So we can easily correct this. We want to find the Hicks hardware transaction that is for $24.36. The amount that was on that bank feed was $24.38. So that's what we need to correct. You want to click on view edit. So once you find that transaction for $24.36, click on view edit. And when you do, the expense transaction will show up for you. We just need to update the amount to say $24.38. So click into that and delete the 6 and replace it with an 8. When you hit the tab key over, you will see that QBO has made the adjustment for us. So we just need to save and close this particular expense. That's the green button on the bottom right corner. And now the expense has been saved and it has been updated. So now we just need to return to the banking center to see how this is changed. So from the left navigation bar, let's hover over transactions and then select bank transactions. So once again, our transactions here, hover over that and then select bank transactions. And now we can see that the Hicks hardware, so I skipped a little bit here. Now you can see that the Hicks hardware expense is matching here on the bank feed. So this is corrected. We can go ahead and click on match. And that is it. We are all set with the checking account. You can see that right here. You can also see that green check mark there, or white check mark in the green circle, to show that we have processed all of the transactions in that checking bank feed. But now let's go ahead and take a look at the savings account. So to do that, we just need to click on the savings tile right here, and it will turn blue for us, showing that it has, this is the bank feed that we are specifically looking for. It looks like there is only one match right here, or one transaction with a match. So we can just go ahead and click on the match button. And there we go. That one is all set as well. And that's it. We have now processed the bank feeds for the checking and the savings account. You would work on credit card feeds another day. And I know you can't see the tile on my screen, but if I click this arrow here, you can see the MasterCard tile. And it does have some transactions that need to be processed. But we're not going to do that today. All we've done is the checking and savings, but that's it. That's how you would process the bank feed transactions. Now, if you like this exercise and you'd like to do more like it, be sure to join our free 5-day bookkeeping challenge. All you need to do is click on the link in the description. We're going to continue on into the cardio section. So if you want to join, be sure to leave this session of the sample company open, as you will need it for the next exercise, where we practice creating invoices and sending statements. And I will see you in the next video.